In a world where ordinary coins hide extraordinary secrets, a 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar gleams with untold stories, its edges whispering history. From the pockets of collectors emerges a 1971 Jefferson Nickel carrying echoes of a bygone era. The 1996 Lincoln penny, small yet mighty, holds the key to forgotten treasures. Each coin, worn yet proud, tells a tale of journeys through hands, time, and fate. Imagine holding history, the metallic weight anchoring moments long past. A glance reveals more than currency. It unveils legacy. The Anthony dollar, a pioneer, stands tall among mere currency. Jefferson's profile, frozen in nickel, challenges the ages. The Lincoln penny, humble yet iconic, sparks dreams of fortune. Close your eyes. Hear the chime of change echoing from decades ago. A collector's heartbeat quickens as rarity meets chance. Could one of these coins change your life forever? The metallic shine reflects sunlight, casting stories onto walls. Hidden details await the keen-eyed observer. Every scratch, every mint mark is a page of history. Imagine auctions, secret finds, and whispered legends. What would you do if one landed in your pocket? Eyes widen, hands tremble, history in your grasp. These coins are more than metal, they are bridges through time. From the 1970s to the 1990s, from Jefferson to Lincoln, each holds a cinematic tale. And as the light hits just right, you realize, maybe, just maybe, you have one. The history of the 1979 $1 coin begins with a major change in American coinage design, marking the first time in United States history that a woman appeared on a circulating coin. The Susan B. Anthony dollar was introduced in 1979 as part of a government effort to replace the paper $1 bill with a more durable metal coin. The coin was named in honor of Susan B. Anthony, a famous women's rights activist who fought tirelessly for women's suffrage during the 19th century, and played a major role in the movement that eventually led to the 19th Amendment, granting women the right to vote. The idea for a smaller dollar coin had been discussed for years, as the Eisenhower dollar issued from 1971 to 1978 was large, heavy, and unpopular in daily circulation. The United States Mint sought to create a coin that would be easier to carry and more convenient to use in vending machines. So in 1979, the Mint introduced the new smaller-sized dollar coin, featuring Anthony's portrait on the obverse designed by chief engraver Frank Gasparo. The reverse carried the same design as the Eisenhower dollar, showing the Apollo 11 insignia with an eagle landing on the moon, clutching an olive branch. The coin was composed of copper nickel clad similar to quarters and half dollars. The Susan B. Anthony dollar was minted at 3 locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and it bore the mint marks P, D, and S, respectively. The Philadelphia coins are marked with a P mint mark for the first time in U.S. history, as coins from that mint previously carried no mark when it was released. The Susan B. Anthony dollar faced immediate criticism. The public found it too similar in size, color, and edge to the quarter dollar, making it confusing in everyday transactions. Many people accidentally used it as a quarter or refused to accept it in stores. As a result, circulation was extremely low, and the government's attempt to replace the dollar bill failed despite its initial intent to modernize currency. The coin became one of the least successful U.S. coins in circulation history. Over 750 million coins were minted in 1979, but very few entered daily use. The coin's design, though symbolically important to the women's movement, was overshadowed by its practical flaws. Vending machines and transit systems slowly adapted to use it, but most Americans preferred paper bills. The Mint continued limited production in 1980 and 1981 mainly for collector sets, after which the coin was discontinued for nearly 2 decades. It briefly returned in 1999 due to a shortage of dollar coins before being permanently replaced in 2000 by the golden Sacagawea dollar, which addressed many of the Anthony coin's issues by using a distinct gold color and smooth edge. the Susan B. Anthony dollar, remains a notable chapter in American numismatic history. It represents a key moment when the United States government sought to balance efficiency, progress, and symbolism. The coin honors one of the most important figures in American social reform history. Even though it failed commercially, collectors today seek out certain 1979 varieties, the most notable being the 1979 P-wide rim or near-date version, which features a thicker rim and closer date spacing, making it more valuable than the common narrow rim variety proofs from San Francisco, also attract interest among collectors. The introduction of the Susan B. Anthony dollar reflected a shift in cultural values during the late 20th century as the nation became more conscious of gender equality and the role of women in shaping American society. Though unpopular in use, its legacy endures through its symbolism and its influence on later dollar coin designs. It also serves as a lesson in how design size and public perception can determine the success or failure of a circulating coin. The 1979 $1 coin stands as both a tribute to a great reformer and a reminder of the challenges involved in changing long-standing public habits toward money. It was an ambitious attempt to modernize America's currency system and to honor social progress, and while it did not achieve its intended circulation success, it remains a collectible and historically significant coin that captures the spirit of its time. The Susan B. Anthony dollar remains a fascinating symbol of the late 1970s era of innovation, government experimentation, and recognition of women's achievements, marking a powerful intersection of history, politics, and design. The 1979 $1 coin, also known as the Susan B. Anthony dollar, was created during a period when the United States government was searching for ways to reduce the cost of producing and maintaining paper currency. By the late 1970s, $1 bills had a very short lifespan, often wearing out within 2 years. Coins, by contrast, could last decades before needing replacement. Congress and the Treasury Department believed that introducing a smaller dollar coin would save millions of dollars. In printing costs over time, the success of similar coins in other countries, such as the Canadian dollar coin, inspired the idea to introduce a small-sized metal dollar in America. However, unlike other nations where coin transitions were widely accepted, the American public was deeply attached to the paper dollar and reluctant to change. The decision to feature Susan B. Anthony on the coin came after years of debate over who should be represented. The mint wanted a design that symbolized liberty, equality, and modern American values. Many proposed figures were discussed, including Eleanor Roosevelt and Betsy Ross. But Anthony was ultimately chosen for her lasting influence on women's rights. Her selection was groundbreaking. It marked the first time a real woman, rather than a symbolic figure like Lady Liberty, was honored on a U.S. circulating coin. The design process involved several sketches and models chief engraver Frank Gasparo had previously designed. The Eisenhower dollar and was tasked with adapting his existing design to the smaller coin. The portrait of Anthony was based on a well-known photograph showing her in her later years, with a stern but dignified expression symbolizing determination and strength. Gasparo's design on the reverse continued the Apollo 11 lunar landing theme, connecting the coin to American innovation and exploration, when the Susan B. Anthony dollar entered circulation on July 2, 1979. It was promoted as a modern coin. For a modern America, advertisements and news campaigns highlighted its convenience and its tribute to a national heroine. But problems emerged almost immediately. Banks received large quantities, but few customers wanted them. Cashiers and shoppers confused them with quarters, and businesses often refused them in transactions. Despite its unpopularity, the mint produced hundreds of millions of coins, anticipating demand that never materialized. The Treasury ended up storing millions in vaults. As the years went on, it became clear that the Susan B. Anthony dollar would not replace the paper dollar. The government even studied public reactions and found that size, color, and familiarity played key roles in people's resistance. The coin's similarity to the quarter, both in weight and appearance, made it impractical for daily use. Many vending machines also had to be modified to accept it, adding to the costs. Its failure was so significant that the mint halted production after 1981, except for special collector's issues, yet the coin had some circulation success in specific sectors. Public transit systems, such as those in New York and Washington, D.C., found the dollar coin useful because their machines could be easily adjusted to accept it. Post offices and military bases also used it frequently during the 1980s and 1990s, even as the public continued to prefer paper currency. The story of the Jefferson nickel in 1971 begins in a period of transition for American coinage and economic policy as the United States was navigating changes involving inflation, metal shortages, and shifting national priorities. The Jefferson nickel itself had been in circulation since 1938 when it replaced the Buffalo nickel, and by 1971 it had become a familiar and trusted part of daily transactions across the country. The design by Felix Schlag, featuring the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, on the obverse and the Monticello building on the reverse had become one of the most recognizable images in American numismatic history. By the early 1970s, the United States Mint was dealing with increased demand for coinage as the population grew and commerce expanded. The nickel was a key denomination because it lasted longer in circulation than pennies and dimes and served as a stable mid-value coin for everyday purchases. In 1971, the Mint produced Jefferson nickels at both the Philadelphia and Denver facilities, with the Denver Mint creating the majority of the coinage. This year is particularly interesting because it falls in a time when the Mint was refining production techniques and improving machinery, leading to changes in strike-quality planche preparation and mint mark appearance. Collectors today often study Jefferson nickels from 1971 for small variations including die-wear weak strikes and the overall clarity of Monticello's details. These factors reveal the state of minting technology during this time. The year 1971 also exists in the shadow of major national decisions such as the ending of the Bretton Woods system and the move of the United States away from the gold standard under President Richard Nixon. Although these policies did not directly change the composition of the nickel, they influenced the broader economic environment in which the coin circulated. Rising inflation made consumers more aware of the value of money, and coins became even more essential in daily transactions. The Jefferson nickel remained composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, a combination that had been used since the end of World War II after the wartime silver alloy was discontinued. This stability in composition made the nickel one of the most consistent coins of the period, and in 1971 it continued to be minted with the same metallic content. When looking closely at a 1971 Jefferson nickel, one notices the classic portrait of Jefferson facing left. Over decades, this portrait had become almost symbolic of American historical pride, linking modern currency with the legacy of the third president of the United States, who authored the Declaration of Independence and shaped early American democracy. The Monticello, on the reverse, represents architectural beauty and Jefferson's contributions to design and innovation. Throughout the 1970s, coin collectors were becoming more active and more organized. Hobby magazines, coin shows, and local collecting clubs grew rapidly, and many collectors paid close attention to yearly releases of all denominations, including the 1971 nickel. Although it was not a rare issue, it became part of many complete year sets, and decades later it serves as a snapshot of minting conditions from that time. There are also subtle differences in appearance between the Philadelphia and Denver issues. The Denver coins bear the small D mint mark on the right side of the Monticello building. These mint marks were punched by hand during this era, which means slight variations in location size and angle can be found among different coins, making them interesting to specialists today. Another aspect of the 1971 nickel that attracts attention is the quality of the strike. Some examples show strong detail in Jefferson's hair and the pillars of Monticello, while others appear softer and less defined, suggesting worn dies or high production pressure. These differences highlight the mint's ongoing struggle to balance speed with precision during large-scale production. As one moves deeper into the historical context of 1971, the Jefferson Nickel becomes more than a simple piece of metal. It becomes a reflection of the cultural, economic, and technological environment of the era. Americans during this time carried these coins in pockets, and purses used them in payphones, vending machines, and everyday purchases, and relied on them without truly noticing the complex process behind their creation. Behind the scenes, Mint employees were working with evolving equipment, trying to maintain quality standards while meeting national demand. The nickel remained one of the workhorses of the American monetary system, serving millions of transactions daily. Over the span of a detailed 2-hour discussion, one can explore the coin from multiple angles, including its design symbolism, minting process, production, numbers, cultural context, collecting interest, and market value. When discussing the production numbers, it is important to recognize that Denver created a significantly larger quantity than Philadelphia, which is typical for Jefferson Nickels of this era due to the Denver Mint's role in producing circulating coinage for western and central regions of the nation. The Philadelphia Mint, meanwhile, produced coins without mint marks until 1980, so the 1971 Philadelphia nickel appears plain in comparison. Collectors often compare the two types to study surface texture, strike quality, and wear patterns. Many coins from 1971 circulated heavily for decades, and today, well-worn pieces are common in pocket change. Finding a high-grade uncirculated example, especially with strong steps on Monticello, can be more challenging. The full steps designation refers to a crisp, clear strike, showing the horizontal steps on the front of the building. This detail is a key factor in grading Jefferson nickels and coins, with full steps from 1971 are significantly more desirable to collectors. Over the years, numismatics has placed increasing value on die varieties and minor errors, and the 1971 nickel is no exception. Although it is not widely known for major errors, some examples exist with die cracks, off-centered strikes, or repunched mint marks. These features offer extra historical insight because they show the conditions of die maintenance and mint mark application during the early 1970s. In the broader timeline of American money, the 1971 Jefferson nickel sits between older classic coins and more modern issues of the late 20th century. It maintains the traditional design that lasted until the early 2000s, when the Westward Journey series temporarily replaced the reverse design. Collectors often appreciate the continuity of this coin series, since the Schlag portrait and Monticello reverse remained unchanged for so long, preserving a sense of authenticity and heritage. As one continues exploring the coin in this narrative, the social and economic environment of 1971 becomes even more relevant. This was a year marked by cultural shifts, technological advancements, and geopolitical tensions. The Vietnam War was still ongoing, public opinion was divided, and the United States faced internal challenges about identity and direction. In such a climate, everyday objects like the Jefferson nickel served as stable, quiet reminders of national history. The presence of Jefferson's portrait reminded citizens of leadership, intellect, and democratic ideals, while Monticello symbolized architectural grace and American craftsmanship. These symbols carried subtle emotional weight in a time of uncertainty. The coin thus stands not only as currency, but also as a historical artifact capturing the spirit of an era. Many collectors today see the 1971 nickel as an accessible way to connect with this period. It is affordable, easy to find, and richly tied to historical context. Whether studied for errors, full steps, varieties, or simple nostalgia, it offers a valuable window into the past. The Jefferson nickel of 1971 continues to circulate in some places, though most examples in change today are heavily worn. Higher-grade pieces have found their place in albums, collections, or dealer inventories. Its legacy continues through the dedicated interest of collectors and historians who recognize the quiet significance of this small but meaningful coin. A full discussion allows one to explore every detail from the metal composition and minting technology to the cultural environment, economic changes, and long-term significance. In the end, the Jefferson Nickel from 1971 stands as a testament to American coinage stability, municipal craftsmanship, and the enduring legacy of Thomas Jefferson, whose image continues to influence United States currency to this day. This is all we know about Jefferson Nickel 1971. The story of the 1996 Lincoln cent begins in a world where the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln had already been present on American coinage for nearly 9 decades, and the United States Mint carried forward a tradition that started back in 1909 when the Lincoln cent first appeared to honor the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The 1996 issue belongs to the long-running Lincoln Memorial Design Series introduced in 1959, which marked the 150th anniversary of his birth, and replaced the earlier wheat ears reverse. The memorial design by Frank Gasparo remained in use for half a century and became one of the most recognized coin designs in American history. By 1996, the memorial cent had witnessed major changes in the world and in the minting process, and each year of production brought its own story shaped by economics, technology, production challenges, and the daily lives of millions of Americans who used these small copper-plated zinc coins in every corner of the country. The year 1996 came during a period when the Lincoln cent had transitioned fully from a bronze composition to a copper-plated zinc plancher. The bronze era lasted through 1982, but rising metal costs forced the mint to switch to the new composition of a zinc core coated with a thin layer of copper, creating a coin that looked the same but behaved differently in weight durability and long-term wear. The 1996 cent therefore reflects the era of modern mass production when billions of cents were struck each year to satisfy public demand, even as debates continued over whether the penny should remain in circulation. The Mint produced the 1996 cent at the Philadelphia and Denver facilities, with the Philadelphia Mint striking the majority, as was common for many late 20th century cent issues. Since Philadelphia coins at that time did not carry a mint mark, the absence of a mint mark identifies the Philadelphia strike, while the Denver carry the familiar D on the obverse. For collectors, the 1996 Lincoln cent may seem like a common coin at first glance with huge numbers minted for general circulation. But behind its familiarity lies a deeper story about the evolution of American coinage technology. The presses used in the mid-1990s were highly automated, allowing the mint to produce coins at speeds unimaginable in earlier decades. The zinc planchers required precise handling because their soft cores could easily show signs of damage or plating imperfections, and the Mint continued refining its quality control methods throughout this period. The dies for the obverse still featured Victor David Brenner's original portrait of Lincoln, first used in 1909, and celebrated for being the first American coin to feature a real historical person on the regular circulating design. The reverse maintained Gasparo's depiction of the Lincoln Memorial, complete with the tiny figure of Lincoln seated. Inside the monument, a miniature detail that fascinated collectors for generations. The national environment of 1996 also shaped the story of this cent. The United States economy was growing rapidly. Technology was beginning to transform daily life, and the use of coins and paper currency remained essential even as early forms of digital payments started appearing. The Mint responded to the high demand for coinage by continuing the massive production levels of the decade, ensuring that millions of 1996 cents flowed through cash registers across the country. From vending machines to grocery stores to gas stations, the 1996 cent became part of the everyday rhythm of American life, and its presence in circulation created memories for countless people who used these coins without ever giving much thought to their history. At the same time, discussions about the future of the penny were increasing. Some economists argued that the cost of producing and distributing the cent was becoming higher than the face value of the coin, especially due to the cost of copper plating and transportation. Others defended the cent as an important American cultural symbol and an essential part of everyday pricing systems. The 1996 cent, therefore, occupies a moment in history when the future of this long-running denomination was widely debated, yet remained firmly in production and circulation. The Philadelphia and Denver mints created business strike coins for circulation, while the San Francisco Mint produced proof coins for collectors. These proofs carried sharper details, mirror-like fields and frosted devices showcasing the beauty of the design at its finest level. The 1996 S-Proof cent is an important part of the annual proof set and remains a popular item for collectors who appreciate the craftsmanship of high-quality minting. The deep mirrored surfaces highlight Gasparo's memorial artwork in a way that ordinary circulation strikes cannot match, and the overall presentation reflects the pride of the mint in maintaining its proof coin tradition. For error collectors, the 1996 cent brings a number of interesting varieties and minting anomalies. Though not as famous as some earlier or later cent errors, the year does include examples such as off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, plating bubbles, and various mechanical doubling issues. The zinc core structure made plating-related issues more common, and coins with blistered or peeling copper coatings occasionally appear in circulation. These errors tell another layer of the story, showing how mass production and new materials introduced both benefits and challenges for quality control. More dramatic errors, such as off-center strikes, reveal moments when planchets entered the presses incorrectly, offering collectors a glimpse into the high-speed environment of modern minting. The design of the 1996 cent links back to two major artists of American numismatics, Victor David Brenner and Frank Gasparo. Brenner, a sculptor born in Lithuania, brought his artistic vision to the United States and created a portrait of Lincoln that conveyed dignity, strength, and sincerity. His initials VDB became famously controversial in 1909 when they were removed from the coin after public criticism calling them too prominent. Only later were the initials restored discreetly below Lincoln's shoulder. Gasparo, who designed the reverse, served as chief engraver of the mint and left a legacy that includes not only the Lincoln Memorial cent, but also the Eisenhower dollar and many medallic works. The cooperation of these two designs across generations helped shape the identity of the cent for decades, and the 1996 issue stands as one of the many years preserving this enduring artistic legacy. As the end of the century approached, the Lincoln Memorial reverse continued its long run, but changes were on the horizon. The Mint and Congress began developing plans for a renewed emphasis on Lincoln's life and legacy, which would eventually lead to the 2009 bicentennial designs and the introduction of the shield reverse in 2010. The 1996 cent stands therefore as part of the final stretch of the memorial design era, a period that would soon enter its last decade before transitioning into an entirely new chapter. Collectors today view the 1996 Lincoln cent as a common but historically meaningful issue. Its value in most circulated conditions remains at face value, but in high grades, especially in mint state, with full original luster, the coin can become more desirable. The differences between Philadelphia and Denver strikes appeal to those who build complete date and mint mark sets, while proof collectors enjoy the sharply detailed 1996 S version. The study of each year, including this one, contributes to a fuller understanding of how small changes in minting technology, production volume, and national economics influence even the most ordinary coins in pocket change. In a broader sense, the 1996 Lincoln cent serves as a window into the American experience of the mid-1990s, a time of growth, transformation, and technological acceleration. These coins traveled through the hands of workers, students, families, and travelers. They were saved in jars, they were carried in pockets, they paid for school lunches, bus fares, and daily necessities. They moved constantly across the country, linking millions of people in an unseen network of commerce and human movement. The story of the 1996 cent is therefore not just about the mint, the dies, the presses, or the production numbers. It is also about the people who use these coins every day, forming memories connected to moments both ordinary and meaningful.